And we're back, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. Thank you all for clicking on the video. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here right now listening to me. We're going to take a look at the Western and Southern Open as I get ready to rev it up as we head into the U.S. Open, guys. I'm getting ready to come back. I have to warm up a little bit. So this is going to be a pretty simple video here. We're just going to take a look at the scores from today and some of the matchups for tomorrow. And we'll take a quick sneak peek at the standings. That's right, the current rankings. But first, the first matchup here. Isla Tomljanovic from the Land Down Under. She lost today in 3 sets to Vavara. And what do I say all the time? Isla is a walking 3-setter. You're just not going to beat her in 2 sets. If you do, you have to be highly efficient. She is very strong, powerful. She's got a good backhand. Her stamina is amazing. Her mental toughness is amazing. And quite frankly, Vavara is as well. And she takes that match in 3 sets. How about Pliskova? She normally starts to play well around this stretch, right? The North American leg. They're using the smaller balls. We've heard Iga complain in the past about the balls. Iga does not like this stretch of the tour. We all know she's a clay expert. She's a clay master. She doesn't like this stretch of the tour. And quite frankly, I don't know. I mean, you can't blame her, right? She prefers clay. Pliskova takes out Tomova. Not shocked. I mean, Pliskova should beat Tomova. Tomova has a strong backhand, but the reality here is Pliskova, strong serve, good forehand. She gets the job done, and she plays well during this stretch of the tour as well. Elisa Mertens loses to Marta. Now, Marta's very fast and explosive, right? She loves to keep everything in front of her, much like players like Leylah Fernandez, who, by the way, is the current class of what we consider to be the future of the WTA consists of Marta and Leylah. And we also have players like Clara Tauson who, okay, listen, I'm not going to go there, not tonight, because all of the fans from Denmark, I'm not going to deal with you guys tonight. You are not coming for me tonight. But the reality here is Marta's fast and explosive, and Mertens, I don't know if she's hitting. She looks a little bit sluggish, but this is a matchup here where I would definitely take Marta to win. I mean, if they were to play 5 times, I'd probably take Marta to win at least 4 of them. She's just too fast and explosive right now. Mertens is, I love her, and I say this all the time. If Mertens were to win a slam, I'd be the happiest man ever. But I do feel she's on the decline, especially if you take a look at how she's been doing with doubles lately. Lulu gets the victory, guys, over Linda Noskova. Are we shocked, surprised? No. I mean, this is a match that Lulu should win, but Linda does play well on hard. And remember last year going into the U.S. Open, that match with Ons? I was there. That was a very brutal match for Ons, but she did overcome. Lulu advances. What about Donna Vekic? Donna does what Donna does. Listen, she loses to Ashlyn Kruger. Now, let's talk about Osaka, right? Osaka lost to Kruger, and Kruger's someone I talked about. You need to watch out for her in terms of American tennis. She's tall. She's got a long wingspan, very powerful serve. She is one of the better servers upcoming for the United States, along with Alicia Parks. Watch out for Kruger. She's hit her highest ranking on tour. She's playing very well. Am I surprised she beat Donna? Of course not. She beat Naomi Osaka, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I do appreciate, because I talked about this. Now, it's going to be complete chaos, right? If players like, in terms of that wild card entry for the U.S. Open, players like Emma Raducanu, she has nothing to worry about, right? Osaka, these former champions, if they needed that wild card to get into the U.S. Open, that's a lock. That's a guarantee. It's going to happen. Now, of course, they've been playing well as of late. Now, Osaka went through qualifiers, which I think is amazing, because let's take a look. Let's go back to the French Open, where players like Waz and Raducanu did not want to go through qualifiers. And I've been saying this as Kerber hangs it up, right? She hangs up her racket. A lot of these veterans, these great players, these Hall of Fame caliber players, this top tier talent, they have this entitlement to where they don't want to go through qualifiers. And to see Osaka go through qualifiers, I thought was great. And I've talked about this in the past. When these big names go through qualifiers, it's going to bring out the fans. It's going to bring more revenue to these tournaments because, listen, guys, whether you realize it or not, the big names, they draw attention, they draw coverage, they draw stories. And that's going to make the fans show up. And when you factor in qualifiers where the ticket prices are a lot less, you're going to have a full house. Now, I just left Toronto, and I'll be honest with you, I was disappointed. You know, the stands were empty, the grounds were empty, and I just wasn't interested. It just seemed like, I don't know. When you factor in what Pegula said, what I mentioned as well, the ladies are just not in their best form. They're not playing well. They don't look good. And then you factor in the conditions, very windy, the elements. It just doesn't make for a good match. And when we have these big names like Osaka and they're actually taking the time to come play in qualifiers, I think that says a lot about her character. Now, unfortunately, she did lose to Kruger, who is an amazing talent, by the way. She's on the up and coming. She's on the rise. She's going to be here for a long time. And listen, let's fast forward to LA 28. I'm going to give you my 4 Americans that will be in LA. Let's do it. Number 1 is going to be Coco. She's going to be, again, the highest seed from the United States. Okay. Number 2, I do think Pegula has enough to stick around. But this is where it gets a little bit dicey. I do think Emma Raducanu is going to be there. Not Emma. Emma Navarro. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking about Emma Raducanu? She's amazing, by the way. Coco, Pegula, Navarro. And I think the 4th American to represent for the United States in Los Angeles, I think it's going to be Alicia Parks. I do think Alicia Parks is going to pull it together, and she will be the number 4 seed representing the United States for Los Angeles. They've already named the location where the tennis matches will be held. It's going to be in Carson City. That's right. So get ready for that, guys. That's going to be amazing. So Kruger takes out Vekic. Am I surprised? No, she beat Osaka. She's got what it takes. And Vekic, by the way, this is normally where she trains with Belinda Bencic, who is, look, she's on maternity leave. I don't know, might be a little lonely in New York without her bestie, but I don't know. Maybe she can call up Jill Teichman or someone. But the reality here is I know Vekic wants to get to New York City so she can start training. They do a lot of work running the stairs and stuff like that. So I think she just wants to get to New York, get settled in, and have a big tournament where, look, she's got what it takes. We remember in 2019, I was there watching her go deep in the draw. She can do it again. She's capable. Dasha takes out Ekaterina. Well, it's about time after that upset last tournament in the Toronto Open. So she takes out Ekaterina in straight sets. And Elizabeth takes out Robin Montgomery in 3. Now, I did want to cover that match. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to you. Robin's been playing well. And I mentioned earlier in the year, in terms of wild cards, Robin's a junior slam champ at the U.S. Open. She won singles and doubles. If she doesn't get in the U.S. Open, that's going to be a major disappointment. She's there. Don't worry about it. Svitolina takes out Wong in 3. Great job, Svitolina. And Magda Linette takes out Katie Bolter. Am I surprised? No, guys. I mean, the reality here is Magda overall. I mean, Bolter's had an amazing season this year. And I say it all the time. Look, when a female player is dating an ATP player, if her game doesn't improve, then it's just a bad relationship. It's a joke, right? But the reality here is when you're sharing a passion with someone that you love, they love. You should be able to do it together. And I've seen a lot of tennis players have these relationships with the opposing, you know, partner playing on the, opposing side of the tour. And the reality here is if their game doesn't improve, then it's horrible. Your game should improve. I feel that just as much as your coach can help you get better, from a male perspective, dating a female on the WTA, I just think that's your duty. That's your obligation to see someone that you really care about improve their game. Because, Serena Williams said it best. She said, look, guys, I could play someone ranked outside of the top 100, and I couldn't even win a service game off of them. That's how good these guys are. So when they're dating and having these relationships with WTA players, guys, practice, help them get better. We've seen a lot of the ladies with these long relationships, they've improved. Look at Svitolina. Her game has improved. She is very powerful now. She did not have that power several years ago. She just didn't. And Katie Bolter, she looks amazing. Even though she lost this match, she's having the best year of her career. And I think Alex is a big part to play with that. So congratulations, Bolter, for an amazing year, even though she loses that match. And you would expect Magda to win that match overall. Potapova gone wild, takes out Clara Burel. Burel struggles. Look, she's a French woman. She's really good on clay. She struggles this. I just hate to say it. I don't want to say she struggles in the Cincinnati Open, but the reality here is when she gets to the U.S. Open, she makes it to the third round. And the matchmakers have to stop scheduling Sabalenka in her draw. I'm tired of seeing Sabalenka send the French woman home. That needs to stop. That's an outrage. We are tired of Sabalenka in Burel's draw. I'm tired of seeing that. Burel could have made possibly the quarter or semifinals at the U.S. Open, for crying out loud, if Sabalenka does not keep getting put in her draw. That's horrible. Let's take a look at some matches for tomorrow, guys, right? We have Elena Evanesian taking on BB. This is going to be a really good match, guys. I have not looked at any numbers. I don't know who's the favorite. But on paper, I would probably make this a 50-50 match. And I don't know, guys. I'm going to have to go with Elena to win this match. I don't know. I don't think BB looked good at the Toronto Open. And the reality here is in terms of stamina and cardio, Elena's going to push the pace. I think she's going to get balls back and eventually just wear BB out. If BB wins, she's going to have to do it in straight sets. If this goes 3, Elena's going to win this match. I just think her stamina, her cardio is a lot better than BB. Harriet Dart, the Brit, taking on Yulia Putintseva. This is a match here that Yulia should win. Even though historically Yulia, for every match she wins on hard, she loses one. She rotates wins and losses. She's not the greatest player on hard. Dart is a hard player, but I think Yulia's got the variety to where she could frustrate Dart. Yulia should win that match. We have Anna Kalinskaya taking on Katerina. Listen, guys, Kalinskaya is, I don't know, I think she's resorting to her old ways. And this is another relationship with Sinner, where, look, he's one of the best players in the world. I want to see her game improve. But the reality here is since they've been dating, she's back to withdrawing from matches, and that concerns me. She's facing a lot of injuries. I don't think she's healthy, and I don't think she wins this match. I'm gonna have to take Katerina to win this match. That's the pick. Diana Snyder, who's been playing amazing, takes on Zhang. I like Diana to win this match. She's in really good form. She's playing some of the best competition in the world. She's finally a top 25 player on my teen prospects list to watch out for. Every teen I said to watch out for is having an amazing year. So you're welcome, guys. Peyton Stearns, Badosa. Peyton's in good form, but so is Badosa. But again, I say this all the time. After Badosa had an amazing championship run in D.C., it's about time. She hasn't had a title in several years. Early exit in Toronto, that's expected, right? But in a beautiful city like Toronto, we just left Toronto, I'm telling you guys. And this is where I'm going to reference Iga Swiatek again. Iga said she would like to be in her best form at least 5 times a year. When you're in these beautiful cities, a lot of the ladies just came from Paris. What's going to happen here? Paula Badosa in Toronto. Is she in form? Guys, whether you realize it or not, Iga said that because you can literally lose your form in a week. A weekend. That's right. It's that easy. You eat a few bad meals, you order the chocolate cake at dessert, and before you know it, you just gained a pound, 2 pounds. Your stamina's not there. It's that easy, especially if you miss a practice. There's rain delays, matches pushed back, you get injured. It's very easy to lose your form. So, with that said, I will take Badosa to win this match, even though I think Payton's a sleeper for sure. Bronzetti and Azarenka. It's going to be a good match here. I can't take Bronzetti to beat Azarenka. I'm sorry. Even though she did look okay at the Toronto Open, I'm going to take Vika to win this match. That's a pick. Vika, by the way, former champion here. Very few ladies have won the Western and Southern Open two times. We know Serena did it. We know Vika's done it. Coco has the opportunity to do it this year if she can win, but I don't think Coco's in her best form. And I did talk about how we're going to talk about the standings later, so stay tuned in this video. We'll pivot back to Coco, but the reality here is I like Vika to take out Bronzetti. Dolehide and Townsend. This is going to be a good match. Now, Townsend, I was there watching the match where she took on Emma Navarro, and the fans were cheering for Townsend to win. Townsend's a very popular player. She had a really good junior career, multiple junior slam champion. And like I say, if this were basketball, Taylor Townsend was a #1 draft pick. She's amazing. I think this she should have enough to beat Dolehide, but this is a match here where I would look at the total, right? You're in America. The fans are going to be cheering on both ladies. I'll take the first set over 8.5. That's what I like there. I think Dolehide might squeak it out, though, but I like the over 8.5. Leylah Fernandez, long hair, don't care, takes on Yuyan. Now, this is an amazing matchup. If you follow the channel, you guys know that I've been saying for a long time that Yuyan is the Chinese version of Leylah Fernandez. And here we go. I'll take the total, guys. These games are very similar. Their style of play, very much so alike. Gotta take the total. I'll take the first set over 9.5. Mukova taking on Diana Yastremska. It's going to be a good match. Is Mukova back? Is she really back? If so, she should have enough to beat Diana. I like Mukova to get the victory there. Ludmila, I like her to take out Wong. And let's take a look at Emma Navarro taking on Mira Andreeva. It's going to be a good match, guys. I think Emma's in really good form. I'll take Emma to beat Mira Andreeva. That's a good pick there. Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova taking on Beatrice Haddad. Beatrice Haddad, I think she should have enough to get past Anastasia. I'll take Beatrice to win. Lulu Sun taking on Marta Kostyuk. I like Marta to win that match. And Buskova, I think she should have enough to get past Magdalena Frach. And in terms of Iga and Varvara, I like Iga. Big, bad Iga. I like her to take out Varvara. Iga's too good. Now, the question is, can Iga win the U.S. Open? I think she can. I mean, Iga said it herself. They don't enter into any tournament unless they feel they can win it. Do I think Iga's going to win the U.S. Open? That's a really good question. I don't think Iga's in her best form, by the way. I don't think any of the ladies are in their best form. I would like Pegula's chances to win the U.S. Open over Iga in terms of odds. But you never want to count Iga out because she's such a great competitor. She's mentally tough, and she plays with a lot of anger, frustration, and I think she channels it in a really good way where players like Coco just hasn't found an outlet to kind of express herself. She still gets frustrated. You can see it on her face, and opponents pick up on that. So I would like to see, and this is why I got really upset when Ribas left camp. I just felt he was a really good cheerleader for Coco. I felt he kept her kind of calm and relaxed in those situations, and essentially just being what a coach should be. A coach relaxes you mentally when you're struggling. A coach is there to reinforce that you're capable of doing what you're able to do. I just felt Rebus did a really good job of that. But never count Iga out because I think she's real and she wasn't always this way. So you gotta understand she is a few years older than Coco, but Iga wasn't always this way. I remember watching matches where Iga would cry. She was very emotional and she still is, but I just feel she is a lot more mentally tough than she's been in the past. So I like Iga to get past Vivara. Can Iga win the U.S. Open? I think she can. Any tournament she's in, she has the potential to win. She's really that good. Now, Waz taking on Angelina Kalinina. It's going to be a good match, guys. Now, Waz, look, she gets balls back, good defensive player. If she pushes the pace, if she can extend these rallies, and Helena gets tired. And I've said this time and time again in the past, but I like the first set over 8.5. I think both ladies will hold. Now, let's take a look here. Do I have the rankings? I don't have the rankings, but I thought I had it. I do want to take a quick look at the rankings, though. So right now, nothing's changed in terms of the top seeds, right? We have Iga Swiatek, the number 1 seed in the world. Coco still number 2, but she's only 300 points ahead of Sabalenka. And this is where things are going to get very interesting because Coco's the defending champion here, 1,000 points. If Coco does not, she's going to need a very early exit from Sabalenka, which is possible because I don't think Sabalenka's in her best form. She looked horrible. I was in Toronto. I saw her play against Amanda. Now, Amanda has a similar style against Sabalenka, so I don't want to really go too far into that because I think they play very similar. Amanda's she's a bit younger, but she's got that firepower to really put Sabalenka on the back foot. But I do want to acknowledge that Sabalenka is not in her best form, and I don't think Coco is either. And this is why a lot of players did not go to France. The older veteran players declined to go to France, Sabalenka. And I said, this is why I'm disappointed at Sabalenka because she skipped France. She should have at least won DC or Toronto. She should have won one of those tournaments. There's no excuse for her to have that extra time to prepare for hard and look the way she looks. She looks overweight, guys. And I'm just being honest. This is a part where I criticize. This is just my perspective. This is what I'm seeing. She looks overweight. Okay. In terms of Coco, she's 300 points ahead of Sabalenka. She's gonna need to hope for an early exit from Sabalenka, and she's gonna need to go deep in this draw. She's got to make the finals. She's got to make the finals. At least have an opportunity to defend her title in the championship match. Can she do it? I don't want to really look too much into that match against Diana because I do feel that the game plan there was wrong. And I said this before. Taking on someone that's really good on clay, like for example, Diana Snyder, I talked about her on clay and how she's very patient. She constructs the point. She uses a lot of topspin, and she comes forward when the opportunity presents itself to put away these shots. On hard, you don't need to rush her on hard. Coco had twice as many unforced errors as Diana in that match, and I just felt it was a horrible game plan. And sometimes I look at these coaches, and I know for a fact a lot of them aren't watching as much tennis as I do, so sometimes I'll have the advantage on the game plan on what a player should do. By the way, if you want to hire me for a consultation, whatever, guys, you can reach out to me. Okay. If you want me to put together a game plan for you, I can do that for you. Okay. Any consultation you want, just email me. But the reality here is I felt that the match against Diana, she needed to play patient, construct a point and defend and get balls back. And she would have beat Diana because this isn't clay where Diana wants to play patient. She can't play that way on hard. I mean, take a look at the match against Kerber versus Diana. Kerber literally had a chance to win that match, and she lacked the athletic ability. All Coco had to do was get balls back and defend, and she would have beat Diana pretty easily. I just felt going out there rushing and trying to just break the ball and overpower Diana was not the proper game plan. It was a horrible game plan. Defend and get balls back. She's going to make enough mistakes to where she'll lose the point. Horrible game plan from Coco's camp. And this is something that's starting to frustrate me, just being such a huge fan of Coco. It's horrible. The game plan she's had lately, I don't like what I'm seeing. Is Brad Gilbert the right coach for her? I don't know at this point. I mean, still struggling on the serve with the double faults. I don't know if he's for her. He's too big of a power hitter. He's too big of a ball striker. If you look at Coco in the earlier years of her success, she was never that big on power. You know, she just wasn't. She was a defender. She was patient. She constructed the point. She used her head. And I just feel you don't want to rush her into decision making to where she's becoming less confident in her abilities. If you let Coco play without a game plan, she's going to beat 99% of all players on tour because she'll figure it out. And I just feel that she's getting in her head. She's letting these players live rent-free in her head because she's thinking too much. And I don't like that. So can Coco defend her title? I think it's going to be a challenge, guys. I think she can. She's been the most consistent during all the slams this past year. So the reality here is I think it's possible. She's capable. But she's going to have to play focused. She's going to have to stay committed and believe in herself. She can do it. But this is a big tournament. If she wins this tournament and defends her title, that's it, Sabalenka. Because Sabalenka doesn't have anything going on until the Australian Open. And I think Coco will have that spot locked in terms of number 2. I think she'll do well in Australia again. And she'll have a chance to possibly play for that number 1 seed. So there's a lot going on here, guys. But if Coco continues to hold on to the number 2 spot, she'll have a chance to win multiple slams next year, because the reality here is she's got to be in the number 2 spot. She'll avoid Iga Swiatek, and she can beat these players. As long as Iga's not in her draw, she can beat these players. So she's got to hold on to the number 2 spot. That is pivotal. It's essential for her career to thrive, for her to stay in that number 2 spot. If she gets back to the number 3 spot, it's going to be tough, because then she'll be right there in the woods of Iga Swiatek. Guys, Tennis in a Minute, thank you all for joining. We just left a nice dinner. We had a nice dinner. We had some wine. So I'm feeling really, really good. It's a really beautiful night. And stay tuned. I'm going to try to bring you some coverage tomorrow. We'll see how things go. But thanks for tuning in. Again, beautiful night. We're leaving this nice restaurant. We had some wine. We had some dinner. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I love you all. We'll be back.